So thank you for the training round.
Thank you.
It's been a little while.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was talking to you about before was that when you first start jiu-jitsu, especially if you haven't grown up doing it, your first time trying it out can kind of seem maybe intimidating, or you're just not sure what's going to happen. You're interested and maybe curious, but you don't really know what's going on. So what we wanted to do is have some people who have gone through that process, stepped in, put their white belt on, and taken a class, and have now started to really make progress and thrive, and kind of ask you some questions about what that experience was kind of like. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
So I guess to start, what actually even got you interested in jiu-jitsu?
I think I was listening to some podcasts and people talking about it, and they were just talking about the benefits of it. Like it's good for your cardio, get a good workout in. I heard there was a good sense of community around jiu-jitsu dojos, build self-confidence, learn how to protect yourself, just like all these positive things. And I wasn't really doing too much working out at the time, so I was like, oh, fitness is a big deal for me right now in life. I feel like that would help me out a lot. So then I was like, let's do something different from like going to the gym regularly, where it's like up to me to do it. I'd rather have someone kind of push me. I feel like I do better with that. So I was like, oh, let's try a dojo. And so I looked up jiu-jitsu kind of like nearby, and you guys were very close, and kind of just took that step of like, I don't know what I'm getting into, but let's just see what happens, really. So yeah, that was it pretty much. It's just, let's just try something new and see what happens.
So a lot of people are kind of in that step, we find, where they go and start looking for jiu-jitsu and they're interested in trying it, but there's a lot of people that drive by and never end up coming in. They are going to walk up to the door and they change their mind. So I guess what was the turning point for you where you went from curious, kind of looking at it, to, okay, I'm going to go in and do this right now?
I think that had to do with me just kind of getting fed up with not doing anything. It was kind of like that breaking point with myself where I was like, okay, I gotta do something. It was just, I kept pushing it, and eventually I was like, let's just do it. Let's get uncomfortable and see what happens. Because I was also that person who, I drove up to like a kickboxing gym and I went up to the door and I didn't go in.
Super common.
Yeah, and I left, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I might embarrass myself, you know, I might not do well. And no one wants that to happen, but that's what happened at the kickboxing gym. And then I think a few months later, I was like, okay, let's try jiu-jitsu. And I walked in, and one of the benefits for me personally was when I walked in, I saw Jason, and I knew him from high school. So I was like, oh, cool. Guy I know, he's a great guy. Talked to him, he was working here, and it was like a really smooth transition. Yeah, he's all right. It was a smooth transition for me from that point on. I was like, oh, cool, like I know someone, this place seems nice, everyone's friendly, let's do this. So it was like a welcoming environment for me. Yeah,
and we hear that a lot here for sure, and I don't know that most martial arts academies have that as their main focus, because if you grow up in it, it may not seem that intimidating, especially if you never leave your school.
Right.
But if I'm traveling and I'm just going to some random academy, I really don't know what's going to happen. So there's still a sense of uneasiness, even for someone who's been a practitioner for years. So I can imagine that for someone who's never trained, they don't want to be humiliated, maybe they're not really in the best shape yet, but they really want to do this thing, overcoming that obstacle is huge, right? That's a much bigger obstacle than I think some people would think.
Yeah, it's definitely like a leap of faith sort of mentality to like get uncomfortable and do something you're not used to doing. And I think another thing that helped was the trial classes that I took. I didn't jump right into like a full-blown class. You were offering like free trial classes at the beginning. I think it was like an hour before the actual class started. And I did that with other people who were like kind of curious, and we're all like kind of, you know, just kind of moving and getting on the mats and stuff, and not really doing too much jiu-jitsu, but like watching people do it and then kind of like working out. So it was like an easier way to ease into the gym if you were someone like me who was like uncertain and like out of shape and kind of afraid about what would happen. And then after I got comfortable coming here a few times from the training classes, then I did my first real class, and just kept coming back.
Yeah, well, they're all real classes. It's just different kinds.
Right, different kinds.
Well, because I think even even if the class is a trial class or it's maybe a shorter or it's maybe not as intense, would you say that the hardest part was actually going through the door?
Yes.
Right?
For sure. Yeah.
Because the class actually, once you do it, sometimes people think it's a lot easier than they thought it was going to be. But just coming in, and we used to think that, oh, well, if we maybe have a girl at the front desk or something, that'll make it easier for them to come in. But then we found out from some of the guys that would come in, they said, oh yeah, and then I saw a girl there and it was even more intimidating.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so now that you've, I guess, started and you've been training for some time, I guess how does jiu-jitsu look like from the inside now that you're not an outsider? That's different, I guess.
How does it look like now? Well, I love it. It's a big part of my life now. I think I only get positive benefits from it. I would say it's one of the pillars in my life that keeps me like my mentality straight, keeping my fitness in check, keeping my overall happiness greater, more happier doing it. So it's become a very important part of my life now, I would say. And from being on the inside, I probably won't ever stop.
And you mentioned that your mentality changed. How do you think it's changed?
Well, I mean, you hear it all the time, like people who have like depression or are going through things, if they're not doing too much with their lives and they're just kind of staying stagnant and in a rut, you know, that can add to it and make it worse. I think doing something difficult physically and mentally like jiu-jitsu kind of gets you out of those ruts. And being with a bunch of people who are like, who like doing things like you like to do, that's another thing, the camaraderie. Yeah. So it's like, it's a big bonus for that. Yeah. It's for your mentality. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess now that you've kind of done it, you've obviously changed a lot about your lifestyle. I mean, how has that affected you?
It's been very positive. I would say when you're around people who try to better themselves, it kind of rubs off on you, and then you make tweaks in your life to reflect that in small ways, but they add up over time, whether that's, you know, maybe not going and getting fast food so much, and then hearing what other people's kind of like new diet trends are like, and then maybe implementing those, and you see progress, and then when you see progress, you feel positive, and it just keeps building on each other, and everyone kind of grows together. I felt a lot of that starting out here. Yeah.
What would you tell your white belt self?
I would say even when it gets tough and maybe you feel like you're not progressing like you would hope, and maybe you didn't get the promotion you thought you were going to get, just keep going, like stick with it. It'll come, you'll get a lot better. As long as you keep coming and trying and paying attention, just don't stop, even if you feel like you feel like you're not progressing like you should. I think the biggest thing is to have that momentum of like when you start, keep progressing, keep adding on to your knowledge and your added fitness, and just keep going. Yeah.
Do you think that everyone should do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a benefit for probably anyone at any point in their lives of doing jiu-jitsu, whether it's fitness, mentality, camaraderie, sense of community, all that stuff. I think anyone can benefit from that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, dude.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff.
Yep.
We good?
Okay.
That was great, dude.